Hello students, how are you? I am Dhananjay Singh and today I am going to discuss with you how to approach history optional in your upcoming BPSC examination. How to approach history optional for the 67th BPSC mains examination. This would be the topic of debate today. See one thing, the history optional in BPSC examination consists of 4 segments, that is ancient India, medieval history, modern India, and then world history. Your optional paper carries 300 marks. After the new changes made by BPSC examination committee. Before this modification, it consists of 800 marks and now it became only 300 marks. And if your approach is better, then you could secure 200 plus marks in your history optional paper. Okay. So let us see one thing, that in ancient India there are total 8 topics, including subtopics. In medieval India, the total number of topics is 24, that covers from 750 AD to 1765 AD. Then after, in modern India, the number of topic is around 7, along with subtopics. And in world history, you have to go through all major events since Renaissance, that is Punarjagran, up to the Second World War, 1939 up to 1945. This is a glimpse of your syllabus of history optional paper. And today I have decided to give you a brief glimpse of modern India. My objective is not to explain any particular topic of modern India. I have decided to give you a reflection of what happened in modern India and how did all those events take place. So let us take a glimpse of modern India. This segment of history is beneficial in two areas. One, that is your optional paper, and second is in GS first paper. GS first paper. Means, suppose you prepare modern India, you are not supposed to give extra time for GS first paper, because this itself would cover all the events of GS first paper regarding history. See, the modern India begins from the decline of mighty Mughal Empire. Mighty Mughal Empire. Empire. This would be the first topic of modern India. In 1707, the mighty Mughal emperor Aurangzeb was no more. And then after, the whole Mughal empire started dismembering, declining, because there were no any capable successor of Aurangzeb who could sustain the heritage of Mughal empire. Somebody was Sahib-e-Khabar, somebody was Rangila, and therefore in this precarious situation, some European companies like French, like British started displaying their imperial hunger to subjugate India and use the resources of India for their own benefits. So this is the first topic of your syllabus. Second is the European companies in India. In India. In this topic, you have to study that since 1498, when Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese traveler, got himself landed on the coast of Malabar, to get spices to be sold out in Europe. And then after, Dutch, British, Danish and French company also came to India. Their mission was to purchase spices, clothes from India to be sold out in Europe to get maximum benefits. But since Mughal Empire was declining, and that's why all these companies made effort to take advantage of the fragile situation of India. As a result, British company and French company came face to face to create their own space in India, and thereby eventually British company got success by defeating not only the Indian powers but also its European rivals like Dutch, like French, in the Battle of Bedra in 1759 and the Battle of Vandivas in 1760 respectively. It means the third topic would be the expansion of British Empire in India. Like Bengal, Marathas, Mysore, Nizam, Karnataka, Awadh, etc. In this topic, you have to see one thing, that how did British company get success? In 18th century, I said you earlier, Mughal Empire was declining. Number one. Number two, some ambitious nobles of Mughal Empire, they led to create their own autonomous state in various parts of India, like Murshid Quli Khan in Bengal, Nizam-ul-Mulk in Hyderabad, in Karnataka also, in Mysore led by Hyder Ali, and Marathas, Peshwa in Maharashtra. A rise of some regional states in India. Number three, some foreign aggression also took place, like Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali. So in this topic, you have to study about all these events. Okay, but I should tell you that finally British company came out victorious because condition was conducive for the rise of British company. Okay. Then after, number 4 topic is the economic policies of British, like land revenue system, Number 1. Number 2, decline of Indian handicraft industries. Number 3, commercialization of agriculture. Number 4, development of railway. And number 5, development of industries in India. In this topic, you have to go through all these topics. My dear, once British Empire started getting momentum in India, their basic objective was to use Indian resources for the benefits of England, because this company was mercantile company. It was a mercantile company, and mercantilism is a part of imperialism, and that's why, since it was colonial company, it was mercantile company, so its basic objective was to use Indian resources to strengthen the economy of England. And that's why this company created land revenue system. It also dismantled Indian industries like that is known as handicraft industry. Secondly, it also promoted the commercialization of agriculture, and it also promoted the development of railway in India. Okay, so in this topic, I will discuss with you all these changes that took place during British rule. Now, then after, next topic would be the British administrative military plus judicial policies. In this topic, we have to study how did British government started replacing the Indian system of governance, of administration by their own system. It is very simple that since company was imperial, and that's why the basic goal of company was to create such a system in India which could help them to exploit Indian resources. Because without having their own machinery, it was not possible to exploit Indian resources. And that's why they're replacing Indian indigenous system of governance on the name of modernization. They said that this is not modern system, and that's why we should replace this system with the modern system based on equality, liberty and justice. But it was illusion. It was totally illusion, because the machinery planted by British government was not based on justice, rather it was designed by them to create their own system for Indian exploitation. Number 5. The 5th topic would be the revolt of peasants, tribals, and the massive revolt of 1857. it is inevitable that once British government started exploiting Indian resources, then it was to face many challenges. Some challenges was given by peasants, some by tribals, and eventually British government also witnessed a massive upheaval in the form of revolt of 1857, which led to shake the whole foundation of British Empire in India. So in this topic we have to see what was the background for the emergence of all these revolts against British Empire. Next, the socio-religious reform movement in India, and this is also known as Renaissance, Indian Renaissance. A basic question is, what was the reason behind emergence of Renaissance in India? It's very simple. In this topic, you have to first capture the very background which led to create this Renaissance in India. My dear, in 19th century, Indian society, religion, culture was unprogressive. And this was the main reason for the subjugation of India by the British government. So some Indian people deeply realized that without making radical changes in Indian society, culture and religion, India cannot create the idea of nationalism. And we have many examples. In America also, in Germany also, in Japan and Italy also, there was first intellectual upheaval before the rise of nationalism in those nations. And that's why Raja Mohan Rai and so many legends of India, so many the enlightened people of India, they made effort to eradicate all the barriers before Indian society, which was making them unprogressive, static and undynamic. So in this topic, we have to learn the socio-religious reform, and then you could easily realize that the same society that was a silent spectator of the whole affair, the same society in course of time led to create the sense of nationalism, which got culmination in the foundation of INC, Indian National Congress. So in this topic, we have to analyze all those events which first made India a vibrant nation and then after put India before the British Empire. Okay. Then, next topic would be the rise of Indian nationalism, and the foundation of Congress. In 1885, see, there are many causes behind the occurrence of nationalism in India. So we have to capture all those events which became instrumental to create Indian National Congress, and then after we have to see the development of a national movement led by Congress. Okay, my dear, here you have to also study that some people told that the Congress was a safety valve. It was a brainchild of England to save the British Empire in India. Okay. Number two, the Congress-led national movement started getting momentum in three different stages, like the moderate phase, from 1885 to 1905. In this phase, the main goal of Congress was to make India a nation, as it was written by S.N. Banerjee in his landmark creation, India, a Nation in Making. Second stage came to be known as the phase of extremism, led by Lal Bal Pal. In this stage, you have to see how did the same Congress that was set up by Hume on the advice of Lord Dufferin, the same Congress became hostile to British government. Okay. And then the third stage is known as the Gandhian stage. Gandhian stage, that is from 1919 to 1947, and this is from 1905 to 1919. Gandhian phase. In this phase, we have to see that a man known as Gandhi, this man came back to India in January 1915 from South Africa. And then this man led three movements against British Empire. One, non-cooperation movement in 1920, then civil disobedience movement in 1930, and then Quit India movement in 1942. Okay, so we have to see all the three movements led by Gandhiji. Okay. Then after, we could also take some topics like the rise of socialism and communism, in India. In this topic, we have to see that after the revolution of 1917 in Russia, this revolution led to live influence across the whole world. India also got deeply influenced by this revolution. So socialism also came into existence in Congress also and outside Congress also. Okay. So in this topic, we have to capture both socialism within Congress and communism outside Congress. Then, the next topic would be rise of communalism and the partition of India. the partition of India. In this topic, we have to see that after revolt of 1857, it became apparent before British government that without creating gulf between Hindu and Muslim, this empire cannot be sustained for a long time. And that's why a British writer known as W. Hunter, who wrote a book, Indian Muslim. In that book, first time he underlined the need to create some kind of gulf in between Hindu and Muslim. And since then, the British Empire made this policy as a part of their governance to create some gulf between Hindu and Muslim by promoting Muslim against Hindus. And so, the Aligarh movement led by Syed Ahmad Khan became the epicenter of the whole divide and rule led by British government against the powers of nationalism led by Congress. So in this topic, we have to capture all various forces which was getting momentum, which finally got culmination in the partition of India. Then we could also take topics like the role of some important Governor Generals of India, in this topic we have to study about Lord Clive, Warren Hastings, Cornwallis, William Bentinck, Dalhousie, then Lytton, then Ripon, and then Curzon. Okay. It means we have to go through only those Governor Generals whose tenure was important for British Empire in India. Okay. And their work are supposed to be landmark. Okay. And finally, in modern India, we have to also study about the constitutional development under the British rule. Under the British rule. Since 1773 to 1935, like the Act of 1773, 1784, 1813, 1833, 1853, 1861, 1892, 1909, 1919, and eventually 1935. So these are the various topics of modern India. Okay. And so, my dear, my whole effort would be to, number one, give you an insight about the relevant topics of modern India. First, like understanding of basic facts, basic concept. This would be my first effort, okay, to make you more and more capable to understand all the topics of modern India like this. And second, my effort would be to make you capable to write effective answer, means writing a skill. Okay. So this would be my cooperation to you. First, to make you more strong at the level of preparation by discussing all the topics like this: basic facts, basic figures, basic concepts, etc. And second, writing skills. Okay. And third, my effort would be to discuss not only the questions of previous years of history, okay, of BPSC examination, but also give you some extra questions by the end of every topic, so that your writing skills should begin from your preparation. And this would be beneficial for you, because finally you are not supposed to worry about how to write and are you writing well or not. Okay. So this would be my task. Okay. Okay. Let us end this class. Thank you. God bless you.